What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, aka 1/3 of the New Day. You're not gonna say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to the Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast, the show that takes a look at the soap opera nature of the WWE. We're talking characters, stories, and all the things that make us just mark out. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside...
Does anybody feel a draft in here?
Oh,
I'm Jem.
That's horrid.
You're welcome.
But I like it. This is, as I said, our WWE In Review show. It usually comes at you every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTube. Sorry, we had a minor delay this week. How bad. But if you want to join that wrestling conversation, you can head over to facebook.com/group/thepopcultures, Twitter. Our handles are down below. Discord, Instagram, and all those links are in the description below. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this wrestling podcast. If you listen to us on podcast services like Apple or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you want to, if you're watching us on the YouTubes, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can. Patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Hello, Jem.
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very well. I'm very well. Things are good. Things are good. How's your week been?
Yeah, busy. I'm back in training this week. I'm leading interviews, and I lost a day yesterday, obviously being unwell, so I had to catch up today and tomorrow. But other than that, I'm actually surprisingly pretty perky considering, I've gone from nothing to full-time work.
Yeah, it does take a big kick out of you.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, no, I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I too am doing well. Yeah, everything's about the same as normal for me. Not a whole lot has really changed in the last week. Have I touched upon? Did I mention my man shakeness on here?
No, I don't believe you have.
All right, well, there we go. We'll get the show. I should mention, if for those that are curious, everyone knows I've been on a weight loss journey since January, sort of, but I started using a product called the Man Shake in March, and that's allowed me to achieve 25 kilos lost from March until now. So recently they reached out to me, and I am now part of their first 6 ambassadors. So I'm now a Man Shake ambassador. So when I sit here and drink from my Man Shake drink bottle, or I talk about the product, you got to know. It's just disclosure, I guess. It's important to know. But yeah, you'll see me around their social medias. You'll see me around their advertisements. And you'll probably, if you happen to jump on the shake itself, you'll see me around those parts as well.
I just had a thought.
What's that?
We can start calling you Big Daddy Betson now because you're making it big with the Man Shake.
Oh, well, I'm enjoying the not so big Daddy Betson. Ambassador. Did you rename that just so you put ass in there, Dash? Is that
of course he did.
Yeah, I'll take that.
100%. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, it's not so big Daddy Betson now. It's kind of where I'm going with it. But no, it's pretty cool. Like it was very nice for them to go out of their way to reach out to me and say, hey, we really like what you do. We really like how your journey's going. We think you'd be a great representative for what we do. Let's work together. And I was like, yup, sounds good.
Okay.
I would have talked about your stuff anyway, so let's do that. So one thing we are in the process of doing is we are looking at sort of promo codes. So for anyone that does watch our shit and enjoy it, they might be, ideally, like, you go to manshake.com/PopC or Betson or something, and maybe things can save you a couple $1 dues. Who knows?
It needs to stop maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all we're here to talk about. That's just part of what we do. Let's get into the show itself. Mighty fine Betson, says Chris Conway. Thank you.
Ooh, I like that.
This week on WWE television, we saw the 2020 draft. It's hard to believe that it's been a year since the last draft happened at PAX weekend. Mostly because they've abandoned any idea of divisible brands, just sending people everywhere because of lockdown, and there's nothing else they could do. They needed people. But let's get into it.
Yeah.
It started on SmackDown, which aired on Saturday here for us. What we will do is we'll go through it round by round, and then we'll also discuss some of the stuff that happened in between that is relevant to that round, because there wasn't a lot of story going on. There were some matches, but they themselves didn't really contribute to the overall draft. So, Jem, how did round 1 go on SmackDown?
So round 1, pick 1. Obviously, we have Raw being a longer show. They're entitled to more options, which means they get 3 picks per round, and SmackDown get 2. So we had round 1, pick 1, of course, was Raw keeping a hold of Drew McIntyre. He is the champion for them at the moment, so wise choice. Following suit, round 1, number 2, was Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman staying on SmackDown as he is the champion for that brand as well. Pick number 3 for Raw was Asuka, obviously keeping their Raw Women's Champion on their brand. And the first sort of big shock of the night was pick number 4, which was Seth Rollins, who was being pushed over to SmackDown. Interesting. I did see.
So, and finally, and then we'll break it down.
Yeah. And then final pick. The Hurt Business, which consists of MVP, Bobby Lashley, Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin, were to remain on Raw.
Cool. So only one big change. What were you seeing? What you see? Sorry.
Just Seth Rollins had a little interview with Kayla Braxton. He was already backstage. Just basically saying, the Monday Night Messiah. She's like, the Monday Night Messiah is no more, and he's like, what's in the name? It's not the name, it's the actions, and I'm going to bring the greater good to SmackDown. And I was like, and then he's like, I'm going to miss the Mysterios, but I don't want to look at their ugly faces or something real dumb and childish. I don't know.
He was his look was channeling a lot of like Hunter Hearst Helmsley, which I really enjoyed. Like slick back hair.
Like the
which I enjoyed. It was a nice little nod. Whether it was intentional or not, who knows?
It most likely is. I love it.
So the big takeaway from this is Seth Rollins has been on Monday Night Raw the entire time he's been on the main card. From my understanding, he hasn't made the shift before. Here it is. This is it. Yeah. He's returning to the brand of his Shield brethren, Roman Reigns. What our plans for this, Jem, is to look at each round as we go and see what that means for the overall stories. Because for us, the story is what is important. Now, initially, there's not a lot that will change here. The only thing that really alters a story, could alter some potential stories here, is Seth. Him going across to SmackDown. Does that mean that we're going to see maybe some Shield stuff, or will Roman create another little stable again? You know what I mean, with his whole tribal chief thing.
Yeah.
Or are we going to see Roman versus Seth in the near future?
Yeah.
How do you see this going?
Look, it's hard to say because it is so early in the draft. Like, it's the first round. We're 5 picks in. It's just, it's really too hard to say because we don't know who's going to shift where and what's going to happen. It's just, I just can't fantasy book anything right now because I know that like anything that I think of is just going to get torn apart. So it's just like, let's put the pieces together. My brain has to like put it together like.
Yeah, there's a bit more, but because we're going with the ideas like as we were watching, it's like, well, this is what we're thinking. All right, round 2.
Yeah. So round 2, pick number 6 was AJ Styles, who would be moving from SmackDown to Raw.
Which we should add, like, he was on Raw, and then due to some deal, he went back to SmackDown, and then now he's back on Raw again.
Raw.
Okay.
Pick number 7 was Sasha Banks, who was to remain on SmackDown,
Makes sense.
while Naomi was drafted to Raw. Yeah, Raw was going to feel the glow. Pick number 9 was Bianca Belaire from Raw to SmackDown, interestingly. And then pick number 10 was the team of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler to stay on Raw.
So the big takeaway here is Bianca Belaire. So she's been receiving a big hunk of promo time, a sort of like a vignette time with her EST videos. So having her go to SmackDown is, I think, awesome. I think she'd be a great person to get into this and get into a feud with Bayley, because at this stage they had it's presumably that she's staying there with Asuka on Raw. That's where I see that going.
Safe assumption, I say.
Yeah. And look, getting to a point where she just, gorilla presses Bayley and takes that belt would be,
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep, definitely.
And Naomi's cool. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice to see it, just mix it up a little bit.
Other than
I
that,
feel like
no
Naomi
change.
I feel like Naomi would get better time.
Yeah.
Round 3, pick number 11 was Ricochet to remain on Raw, while Jey Uso was to remain on SmackDown. Pick number 13, obviously Mandy Rose had been traded earlier. It is an official, I guess, now from the draft that Mandy Rose will remain in Raw. However, and this is where the tables turn, pick number 14 was Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio from Raw to SmackDown. Interesting. Pick number 15, The Miz and John Morris were to go from SmackDown to Raw.
Hey.
And this is where shit gets real, because Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods won the tag team championship.
Yes, they had a match with Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro prior to this round of picks, because in an awesome surprise return, we see both of them, and Xavier's looking goddamn jacked.
Oh, he's jacked. Xavier looks so good.
When he obviously he did his Achilles, he's like, well, I can't do leg day anymore. I might as well do my top half and get fucking jacked.
Oh, I got ahead
He's
of
looking
myself.
fantastic.
Round 4 first pick, but anyway.
Yeah. Either way.
Yeah. Well, it's.
But we'll get before we get into New Day. We'll We'll go back a little bit. So
tag teams switching was all that was that round. So
that leads us to believe that we're likely going to see the Street Profits make their way over there, which is fine, unless they unify the belts, which I with all my confidence, I don't see it happening.
As much as we want it, I don't think it is going to be one of those things that's gonna happen for us. The Miz and John Morrison being traded to Raw, meh.
Yeah, so if anything, it's this weird situation of apparently the Miz has switched every time there's been a draft. He's never not been traded.
Interesting.
Saying that though, I don't know whether it was SmackDown or Raw. I think it was Raw. Miz and Morrison did a fantastic episode of Miz TV. I laughed quite extensively, so I'm enjoying it already. I'm also a sucker for them.
Good.
But yeah, Rey Mysterio and Dominic's the one thing.
Yes.
The idea of drafting is that it should, in theory, change storylines. But instead, we saw that storyline continue with Rey Mysterio and Dominic head over to SmackDown. Now, granted, with our love for soap opera bullshit, I'm happy we're going to see the end of this, presumably. At this point, we don't know where Buddy's going, but we can only assume that he will probably end up on SmackDown as well and continue that story.
Yes. But obviously going back into round 4, that first big pick was champions Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods being traded to Raw, while Big E was to remain on SmackDown. So they've split the New Day.
Yeah, so when I saw this, because I was watching this one live, I was like, you get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, we'll go through the round. So, yeah, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods go to Raw. Big E stays on SmackDown. Dana Brooke remains on Raw.
Dana Brooke stays on Raw. Otis stays on SmackDown.
Yep, and Angel Garza stays on
Raw.
And
Angel Garza.
So the only notice how it was Otis only though. That's the big step there. But with Kofi and Xavier Woods, and then Big E, my first thought was, why the fuck? Like, they need to unify these belts so they don't split, so they can just cross two. That's what needs to happen, and it didn't.
Yeah.
But man, like the New Day have been together for like what 6-something years, if not more. And they have been such a strong like team within that time. I'm hoping that they have big fucking plans for Big E.
Yeah.
Because if they separate him and he's left to Berry, not Berry's the wrong term because I hate that use in wrestling. But I mean, like, if he's left to flounder and not do a whole lot, and then this is all for nothing, I'll be devastated.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that's the big question. Like, what does that mean? So with him staying on SmackDown, you know, we look at who's in there now. You know, once we get towards the back end of it, we'll be able to have an understanding. But you know, if it's a situation of like, yeah, is he staying mid card? Like, because it's a situation of we're not going to see. Roman get up the belt anytime soon. We might see them have a go, but I don't know. Like, it's in the same way that I enjoyed Kofi getting the go to have the title run and then have it for a little while. I'm seeing the same thing here, and because they didn't split the New Day, I didn't have an issue with it at WrestleMania last year.
Yeah,
where I feel like I understand them not doing the same thing here in order to not appear repetitious. Yeah,
I agree.
But I hope it pays off. I really do.
Yeah, it's a huge gamble.
With Mandy Rose staying on Raw, it's understandable that Dana Brooke is staying on Raw. It's interesting that they didn't, because they seem to be a pair. They seem to be a tag team. They look to be in the sights of the SmackDown. The Women's Tag Team Championship. I don't know why they didn't draft them together. That was interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
With Mandy staying on Raw, that ends the Otis stuff too.
Yeah. Interestingly enough about that, on the following night on Talking Smack, they had a supplementary draft. So round 5, technically, we had pick number 21 was Humberto Carrillo to stay on Raw. Pick number 22, you guessed it, Murphy was drafted to SmackDown. 23, Drew Gulak was drafted from SmackDown to Raw, interestingly.
Which is interesting because we've seen him primarily on Raw recently with the 24/7 Championship.
Exactly,
so I thought he was already on Raw.
Yeah. Pick number 24 was Kalisto to remain on SmackDown of the Lucha House Party. This is where things get a bit heartbreaking. Pick number 25, the final pick of the supplementary 5th round, Tucker has been drafted from SmackDown to Raw. That splits heavy machinery.
This is the thing that I'm not understanding. So they are splitting teams left and right so far, right? And yet, you know, as I said, like, my big thing is unify the tag title. That needs to happen.
Yeah.
Bring it together. There's not enough teams. And they continue to break teams throughout the draft. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Now, granted, as Dash is in the chat, if anything, it probably promotes the fact that they want to take the briefcase off Otis. And that's probably the correct assumption there. They want that to go elsewhere. So they're putting in place ways for him to lose the title, lose the opportunity. And this is going to be a conflict, Jem. What if it's Big E that takes it?
it'll be heartbreaking, but I think at the same time it'll be the more respectable thing. I think Otis would like have a nobility in losing to Big E, I guess. As weird as it sounds, it's like one of those losses that you're happy to take type thing. Like, yeah, like it sucks, but I wouldn't want anybody else to have beaten me type thing.
Yeah, and like the issue that the one of because one of our predictions. Oh, excuse me. One of our predictions was that he would use this to get the tag title shot, and that would be a great something that the briefcase has never really been used for before, and show like some diversity in their decision making.
Out the window.
It's gone. So, and then there's I don't know what the stipulations are around around the briefcase, because we know that it lasts until the next Money in the Bank. They have 1 year. So if it gets taken from Otis and goes to, say, Big E, was using him as an example, does Big E have until June to use it, or does he get 12 months now? Like, because it'd be weird if he has 12 months. Like, say if somehow somebody takes it off Otis in the next month, do they then have even a a more restricted time to cash in?
Yeah, that's
like has the briefcase ever like left hands before, and then
not that I can think of. Not that comes to mind. So yeah, that's where it gets tricky. I feel like you have to relinquish the case before it can be put back up. You can't have two Money in the Bank at the same time. I don't believe.
Exactly. So like you presume it's straight like through until June.
Definitely have, but I feel like at the same time, Big E at that point would know what he'd want, so he'd pull the trigger very quickly.
Presumably.
Yeah, presumably. So that brings us on to Raw, which was night 2 of the draft. Round 1, pick number 1 was the Fiend Bray Wyatt being drafted to Raw. Knew it. Of course, they're gonna have the red man on the red brand.
Yep. It was weird that they when he went to SmackDown last year. Just saying.
Exactly right. Pick number 2 was the SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley to remain on SmackDown. Of course, Sasha Banks was staying, so it was a given.
Yep.
Pick number 3, Randy Orton to remain on Raw. Makes sense. That's where he does his best work.
Yep, and with his Hell in a Cell match in the works with Randy, he is Randy with Drew. It would make sense for him to stay on that brand for now.
Exactly right. Pick number 4 was the Street Profits from Raw to SmackDown, which is basically just them and the New Day went swapsies.
And it literally happened. So later on in the episode, they're standing there, and there's Adam Pearce being like, all right, you guys need to exchange belts. And what I love about it is Xavier Woods like, yeah, because that is the most logical thing to do. Like, the amount of sass that was coming out of Woods was just on.
Oh, I love it. He's back.
This could have been the moment. Like, this, they had it set up to a point, because when I saw that, I'm like, this is it. They're doing it.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, you hand us the belts. These need some work, and we'll come back. Like, he should have taken the belts as this weird GM role that Adam Pearce seems to be. Take the belts and be like, oh, we'll come back to you next. It's a season premiere next week. Now would have been the right time. Like, thank you very much. We'll see you guys next week.
Touche. Yeah.
And they come back with a newly designed belt, and then next week we would see Street Profits versus the New Day in a match for the titles. Who will become the WWE Tag Team Champions?
Yes.
That is, like, I don't know about you. I haven't seen that pairing. Have you? I don't think I've seen Street Profits versus New Day. I am not giving it up, Dash. I am not giving it up. That is the one thing that I will stand my ground on.
No, I haven't.
Because that would be a match. Because I think the 4 of them would go hard, and I think that would be an ideal match. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm aware the dream is over, but I'm not willing to admit defeat yet.
Yeah. And then round 1's last pick, number 5, was Charlotte Flair to remain on Raw.
I forgot that she would technically be counted because she's off with an injury.
Yeah.
She's got broken.
Yeah. Nope, she's still there. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Um,
That's probably best
yeah,
on Raw, I guess. It's just sort of seems fine.
yeah, yeah, exactly it. So round two, pick number 6 was Braun Strowman from SmackDown to Raw.
Cool.
Um, pick number 7 was Daniel Bryan to remain on SmackDown, while pick number 8, Matt Riddle, would go from SmackDown to Raw. So in his very short tenure in the WWE, he's crossed all brands.
It's pretty impressive.
Killing it. And then pick number 9 was Kevin Owens to go from Raw back to SmackDown. While pick number 10 and the final pick for round 2 was Jeff Hardy to go from SmackDown to Raw.
So this round saw, like, up until this point, the most switching. However, this is an issue that I have, I guess, with the draft overall. All they've done is picked up a handful of people and put them over here. So we're people that are involved in the same stories. So it's not as if they're like, all right, well, Matt Riddle stays here and we'll put, this guy over here. And then we'll put, so we know that, like, who's an example? Fucking Sheamus and an example. So Sheamus and Big E had a story, right? So the idea would be like, oh, well, they're both on SmackDown. Well, let's move them both to Raw. Like, no, the idea of the draft should be a hard reset. It should allow me to see different combinations of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I wanna go to Raw for this and be like, you know what? I haven't seen this person versus this person yet. This seems like a good way to make that happen. But there's a lot of just literally picking up the stories and bringing them over, or like fight example, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy. We saw that just recently. They put them both back on Raw. I guarantee we're going to see them fight again.
Yeah, guaranteed.
And it's like, well, why? Why bother?
Yeah, why bother? So round 3, pick number 11
also,
was
Kevin Owens going over to SmackDown. Could be cool because, as we know, Sami Zayn, IC champion.
Yes.
I'm hoping we see them either team up together or maybe they start boosting each other again. Either way, gonna be mint.
Either way, they're going to be brilliant. Brilliant. Yes. So, sorry, round 3, 11, pick 11 for the night was Retribution to stay on Raw. So that's the likes of Mustafa Ali, T-Bar, Mace,
Yeah, no, it was cool to see Eagle Piggle and Upsy Daisy and Macapaka and the Plinky Plonk, like they all
the Tumbly Blues.
Tumbly Blues, they all stayed on Raw. Cool.
Yeah. And then somebody who I forgot existed, pick number 12, was Lars Sullivan, who was to remain on SmackDown.
Yeah, so he reappeared on SmackDown, punched Miz, and then he appeared on Raw and punched John Morrison. And I'm like, oh, man, I forgot about this piece of shit. I guess he's back now.
Boo. Pick number 13 was Keith Lee to remain on Raw. Hell yeah.
Sorry, just a comment on... actually, we'll comment on Dash's thing afterwards. Keep going.
Pick number 14 was King Corbin to remain on SmackDown. And then the final pick, number 15, round 3... was Alexa Bliss to go from SmackDown to Raw, which obviously with the Fiend going across, to be expected.
Yeah. So Dash in the chat goes, woohoo, Pornhub's Lars Sullivan. Now, Lars Sullivan, I'm not going to shame him for appearing in an adult film. He can do that all he wants. Instead, I'm gonna shame him for just being a general piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like that, I think like it's nothing in regards to him like fucking people on camera for money. Good on him. Like, there's some respectable people that have done that, I'm sure. But like in terms of him just being an absolute garbage person, with very sexist, very homophobic remarks, to me that's a bigger concern whether he fucks someone on camera.
Yeah, he's a bit of a dumpster fire.
Yeah, and the fact that like within 6 hours of him being back on television, these news stories surfaced about him, about cool.
Okay.
I'm like, he's garbage. Why did you expect? Why the fuck is he back?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But then again, in a place where, like, you know, I guess it's this weird situation because, like, you know, it's just like Velveteen Dream did some gross shit. Matt Riddle is currently literally in a lawsuit under sexual harassment claims.
Yeah.
And he's still on television. So WWE appear to have no self-awareness, no understanding. They just don't care.
They don't care.
So
Round
side note, King Corbin. Are we gonna? Because we had King of the Ring was about this time last year. Are we gonna see another one? Is he gonna lose the mantle of King at some point? Like, is it just him now forever?
I don't know. That's a tricky one. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. It's very not sure.
And Alexa Bliss makes sense going over with Bray Wyatt. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful, because that they're on fire right now.
Oh, they're doing great so far.
And might add, I don't remember who they bossed, but they did a dual Sister Abigail
Saw that
in the ring, and I shit you not, it was hot as fuck. Like, it was.
Yeah.
Like, then they just stared down each other, and I'm like, this may in fact be the hottest shit I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
Like,
you're just waiting for Alexa to stick her tongue in that mask. Oh, yeah.
I know that it's hot because mostly she's involved in it, but
yeah.
Whew,
yeah.
And she's rocking that outfit that's like, you know, that's just doing it for me.
Goth fairy type thing.
Oh!
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh goodness.
I'm gonna need to like fucking if I was in a room with carpet, I would just splash my face with water for added effect. But
all right, so let's move on to round 4 then. So pick number 16 was Elias being drafted to Raw.
Yes, after a return.
I'm down for that. Yeah, after a big old return. Pick number 17, Sami Zayn to remain on SmackDown. While pick number 18, Raw took the sassy Southern Belle Lacey Evans off SmackDown's hands. The tag team of Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura were to remain on SmackDown, while Sheamus would be moving from SmackDown to Raw. There goes my hopes of the bar room.
Yeah. Once again, goddamn splitting tag teams. But also not really. They split yonks ago.
I'm excited to see Lacey Evans crossover, just because it's a fresh start again.
Yeah,
and I think she can do the whole bad girl thing better on a different brand.
So this time last year, she was about to get into a feud with Becky and Seth, along with Baron Corbin. Or was it the year before?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was last year.
Sure.
It was last year. Oh, no, it wasn't the year before. God damn it.
Yeah.
Either way, no, it would have been last year, because you should this time last year should have been on SmackDown. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She didn't do a whole lot of good stuff on Raw, but she just come up as well, so it made it a bit more difficult. But yeah, look, I'm open to it. I've warmed up to Lacey Evans pretty hard, so.
As if I. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And Sheamus,
and then
good.
Elias.
I want to see what they do with Sheamus, but then again, Jeff Hardy is on Raw.
Yeah, but like Sheamus and Elias, yes, please.
Yeah, give me that.
Yeah, I like that. I'll take that one. So then moving on to round 5, pick number 21 was Nikki Cross from SmackDown to Raw, of course. While tag team of Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode.
Oh, Rudolph.
Rudolph were drafted from Raw to SmackDown. Now, pick number 23 was R-Truth to remain on Raw, while number 24, Apollo Crews, would be drafted to SmackDown from Raw. And then the final pick of that round was Dabba-Kato, who was a free agent. We've seen him in Underground. Now, I actually know how to pronounce his name. It's D-A-B-B-A, Dabba-Kato. Dabba-Kato. He has been picked up by Raw.
Which, this is the thing that's interesting. Now, we've not seen Underground in a number of weeks. Is him being is Raw Underground technically part of Raw? Like, is he
Yeah.
part of Raw to be in the ring, or is he drafted to Raw to be part of Underground? Like, or is the entire Underground being a big build up for Dick Grabber? Like, is that what it's been?
Yeah, hard to say.
You know what I mean? Like, is this just been an entire build up for this one dude?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Mm.
It was feeling a bit like that at the end.
Yeah. So R-Truth, sure. Why not?
He can stay.
But like,
fine.
what made me laugh really hard was his banner that was like 47 time 24/7 champion, best friend Little Jimmy. Like, that's all it said.
Yeah.
No other achievements. That's all he's done.
I love him.
Apparently.
I love him. He's so funny.
And Apollo Crews heading over to SmackDown. That means he's done with the Hurt Business. Big thumb up, because I don't want to see him get involved there. That does leave Ricochet by himself in terms of that story with the Hurt Business. Because with Mustafa Ali now the head of the Night Garden,
I love it.
Also, side note, what in terms of kayfabe, right? Why the fuck would they offer a contract to a group of thugs that are messing up they're intentionally going their way to try shut down their business, and then draft them? Kayfabe is dumb on that. Dumb.
I have no idea. Wait. Let me go back to the top. Where are they?
What?
The Hurt Business is still on Raw.
Yeah. So Ricochet's still on Raw, but Apollo Crews got moved.
Yeah. But Mustafa Ali's still on Raw.
Yes, but he's not working with Ricochet is my point. Yeah. All right, final round.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you now.
Yeah, so final round.
26 was Slattis O'Neal staying Raw.
Why is he always
27 Carmella was remaining.
I'm not going to put it out. Actually, why the fuck is Titus O'Neal still a viable pick?
Right.
Like, he if anything, he was someone that should have been picked on fucking Talking Smack or something.
Yeah, I agree entirely. Same with another pick a little bit later. But yeah, so you got Titus O'Neal remaining on Raw, and Carmella staying on SmackDown, Peyton Royce staying on Raw, while Aleister Black would be drafted to SmackDown.
He's feuding with Kevin Owens. Okay, sure.
Yeah, exactly right. And then finally, Akira Tozawa was to remain on Raw, and it's another one I think this should have been done on a supplementary draft, not a main draft.
Mm-hmm.
But what can you do?
Yeah, that round didn't change a whole lot. Carmella stayed where she thought. Peyton Royce stayed where we thought. Aleister Black is because he's currently in a bus with Kevin Owens. Sure, why not? Go. Bethany's angry with this draft. I feel it. I'm not fucking stoked on it. Is the real answer?
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place.
It achieved almost nothing.
Yeah. Raw Talk supplementary picks. So round 7. Pick 31 was Lana from Raw to remain on Raw, while Natalya, her tag team partner, would be drafted to SmackDown. Riddick Moss was remaining on Raw, while the Riot Squad, thankfully, as a pair, were moving across to SmackDown. As we know, last year they were split. And then final pick of round 7 in the supplementary draft was Arturo Ruas from NXT to Raw. I'm not sure who that is, and I feel horrible.
Yeah, so he's the only one to come from NXT up out of all of this. You know what I mean? Which is a bit weird. So there are some people that are still noted as free agents that were sort of have since picked, where they want. There was Retaliation, who was a member of it's Mercedes Martinez. She was a member of the Night Garden. She was quietly removed from the Garden, and apparently she has since returned back to NXT. But she's also returning back under Mercedes Martinez. Shorty G, who's remaining on SmackDown. Lucha House Party have since moved to Raw. Billy Kay has gone to SmackDown, so separating.
But when we say Lucha House Party, it's just Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado.
Yes, because Kalisto was intentionally separated earlier on.
Yes.
Eric of the Viking Raiders is remaining on Raw. Now,
Yes.
Ivar wasn't listed because he is injured.
Yes.
Tamina remains on SmackDown. Zelina Vega moves from Raw to SmackDown. Understandably. Currently, here's a number of what's been noted as active wrestlers who are currently undrafted. So Andrade hasn't gone home yet. Becky Lynch, although still an active member of the roster, is currently on mat leave, so we're not going to see her anytime soon. The Big Show, see, for a couple of people that we'll see here, I would consider them in legend status, so they kind of don't have a home. They just go wherever it's needed. Yeah. So Big Show, I'd put in that bracket. Bo Dallas was not put in either draft pool, and he was on SmackDown but still undrafted. Now, adding to that, it's noted that we haven't seen him on TV since November 15th of last year, so it's very likely no one's going to fucking pay attention. The Forgotten Sons, since Jackson Riker's inappropriate tweets, he's been kept off the list. Ivar, as we mentioned, is off injured. Jimmy Uso, who is currently inactive due to a knee injury, will likely see him involved wherever Jay goes.
Yes.
Jinder Mahal, who's also off injured. He was previously on Raw. I'm sure he'll stay on Raw if he comes back. Might do some stuff with Drew like originally planned. Kane also sits within a legend status for me, so I don't care where he lives. Maurice, why the fuck is she still an active wrestler? When was the last time she was on telly? She last appeared on TV on the 13th of December 2019 as well. She ain't doing a whole bunch of shit. Mickie James, I also consider as part of that legend status, even though she's had a bit of a run recently. Yeah. I see her within that go where she's needed because she'll do good. And then Mojo Rawley hasn't been drafted anywhere, and also cool, I guess. But he was on SmackDown. On that list originally, I saw the names of like the Undertaker and John Cena and stuff like that. I'm like, they're retired, man. It doesn't matter fucking where they go.
So
John Cena is unofficially retired. Undertaker is officially retired.
Yeah. Interesting thing about that though, I was just looking it up because I thought they'd swapped. So we're presuming obviously Jimmy and Jay are going to stay together on SmackDown because I believe Jay is still on SmackDown too. However, we know that Naomi is married to one of the Usos. Jimmy, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And she's now a Raw superstar.
I think previously, like, as we know, previously there was that nice consideration that if you got drafted, it's likely that your partner would get drafted too. However, since they're stuck at the Thunderdome, they're not traveling the country, I don't see that being an ongoing rule until they start doing live shows again, or at least, moving around the country.
Yeah.
So, even like Zelina Vega, she's technically still on SmackDown now with Aleister Black, but like Andrade, as we know, is in a relationship with Charlotte Flair. It doesn't matter anymore. They can go wherever because it's the same building, and they just go there on a different day.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
So I don't see that as any predictor or any hurdle moving forward.
I see it as a heightened fucking infection risk for the WWE, but whatever.
They're allowed to do whatever they want, But yeah,
America.
They'll end up shifting Naomi back when they start touring, very likely, because as we've come to learn, they just move people where they want now. Because we saw it from last time that there were trades that left for draft picks. It's like, hey, if I'll trade you this person, you give me 2 picks later on, I can just grab whoever I want, and they're like, sure. Yeah, man, and that's like their gray area from being able to move people around, because people will move around again. It will happen.
Yeah.
But as I was alluding to before, Jem, it's not that I had expectations. I did have some expectations coming into this, but it was more of like these seem like reasonable decisions. If I was going to do the draft, and we did a little bit of a prediction last week, like this is how we see the draft going, and we had that difficulty. Like none of these stories are wrapped up. So what they do, because a lot of the stories were building into Hell in a Cell. I'm like, well, why did you have the draft now before Hell in a Cell when we know there are stories that are going to take place at Hell in a Cell? Like Drew McIntyre, Randy, they're not separating. Buddy and Seth, they ain't separating. Buddy and Mysterio's, they're not separating. There's all these little things that and like Sasha and Bailey, they're not separating. They literally shot themselves in the fucking face and foot by not having stories come to a close or not doing it the day out, the episodes after a pay-per-view. It's what they should have done. So use the pay-per-view to end up those stories and transition it.
Yeah, exactly right. Because it really is. It marks the start of a new season and a new era, I guess. So it's really been mishandled for sure.
Yeah, and like it's not as if the every time they've done a draft before it's been perfect. It's been garbage this whole time. But like, for us, what with what we do in this show is we try to look at that positive side. We try to look for the positive in what WWE are doing, whether because we play within our own kayfabe, right? But there is difficulty here, and there are some changes. We did see some people go across that weren't over there before, and we've seen Peyton Royce and Billie Kay now on separate brands, so presumably one's going to get a push and one's going to be pushed, like just left behind. Like it's just there's not enough actual change here. So that there was like some things shuffled around to give the appearance of movement or the appearance of change, but they didn't do a whole lot.
The only thing they did was change the color of the storyline.
Yeah.
They changed it from red to blue and vice versa. And
like, Dash said it before, like, SmackDown's ratings are not doing well, so they're trying to bring give it some oomph. And that's
But how are they going to fit a 3-hour show into 2 hours? That's the thing.
Yeah, so what they've done is they've shifted those that were stronger storylines onto SmackDown. Which is interesting because SmackDown was fantastic recently. Yes. Comparatively. Like, you look at it with Raw and SmackDown, you're like, SmackDown is far superior. So they're moving... Well, I guess the Roman Reigns story is still staying, and that's probably one of the big standouts.
Yeah.
It's just like... Oh.
Yeah.
And, like, granted, look, if that means that we're going to have, because 2 hours is how long a wrestling show should be.
Yeah, we've discussed this many a time.
So... What if this means we're going to get a more concise version of this Romeo and Juliet story between Aaliyah and Buddy Murphy and Seth and the Mysterio? Mint! Fuck yeah! If they can make it cohesive and make it tighter, I'm all for that. All for that completely.
Yeah. I feel like it'd really help that storyline too, because there's less fluffing about, so they don't have to like fluff about. Like, they've got less time, so they can do it more passionately in a quicker segment.
And and it seems like this is how they're removing the Monday Night Messiah gimmick. And I don't know how they're going to rebrand Seth Rollins now, but cool. Like, I liked that gimmick. I thought it was good, but it is certainly coming at a point where it's wearing thin. And they needed to do
Friday
some
Night
sort of
Father.
Change. Or Friday Night Fuckface for all I care. They can do whatever they want to do. But... like this is an easy way to change it, and I get that. Dash adds in the chat they're only pushing one over the other because while Vince thinks Peyton's hot because she is, and they don't want to lose her to AEW, which is very, very correct. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course.
Like with Sean Spears over there, they want to keep her in a space so she stays happy, so she doesn't request her release, or when her contract runs out, she moves. Now, I don't think she is a good enough, like, once again, having not seen her at NXT all that often when she was there, at the moment, the way WWE showcase her, I don't see her as a reason for AEW to bother. Aside from Sean Spears wanting his wife there, I look at what she does in the ring, and I'm like, this doesn't seem like what AEW are wanting. But as a comedy team with the Iconics, they had so much character. They brought so much sort of dynamic to that division, because when everyone else is trying to be taken super seriously, they're having fun. They were essentially being the female New Day, but Australian, and like they were our representatives, and like they used they used a lot of our Australian humor and Australian vernacular, and giving us a place.
I remember watching the Evolution Women's Royal Rumble or something like that. And they come out and they're talking about the town they're in America, and they're like, I'd hate to have a stupid accent. It was just, they do it perfectly.
But on top of that, though, a big part of that duo and that humor behind it was Billie Kay.
100%.
You know, because it was a situation of the attractive and the funny one.
Yes.
Like Billie Kay, still a babe, but like in terms of how that was marketed, that's kind of what they went with. And you can tell that, even in something as simple as their ring attire.
Yeah, for sure.
So I hope that Billie Kay is allowed to be given some time to be able to showcase that still, because I think that's still one of the best things about her as a character.
I can agree for sure.
But yeah, as we said, we're seeing a lot of, the mid-card titles stayed where they are. So that's positive. We didn't have them. We didn't have any apart from the tag titles, which as I said,
the tag
should be unified because they are the same fucking belts, and there's not enough teams. But every belt stayed where they were, because last year all belts changed brands.
Yes, they did.
So that makes sense. And I guess they have shuffled it up enough that maybe there's some new people that can go for those mid-card titles. Cool.
Yeah.
But like, overall, I'm not fucking happy.
No, it was pretty subpar for sure. Like a disappointing salad.
Yeah, like there are some that make sense. Like bringing the Fiend back to Raw makes sense because there's more people, there's more things for you to do, and with this, and it keeps him away from Roman. Keeps away from the Universal Championship, because that's a hot spot right now. And with Seth Rollins going over to go over to SmackDown, that keeps him separated from Seth Rollins. So we're not going to see a return of the Hell in the Cell bullshit from last year. You know what I mean? Like they separated him from storylines that didn't really work in his favor, and then putting him in a place where they are going to work in his favor.
Yeah.
Like so with Braun Strowman coming across too, maybe we'll see some more Alexa Braun stuff. Maybe we'll touch upon that again, or maybe not. Maybe Braun will do his own thing, which is super fucking weird because he has a Universal Championship match against Roman Reigns on SmackDown this coming Saturday. Why? But then Braun has a match on Raw against Keith Lee. That I want to see.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's being put in a position where he's got to take on Roman Reigns again when we know he's going to lose.
Yeah.
Like, why have him transition brands on a loss when they're trying to make him look fucking good?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because it either ends in a DQ finish or he loses.
Yeah.
Like, welcome to Raw. We want you to be an opposing threat against, like, it's a big threat. And you just ate shit. Like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Now, me saying all these things, it's not me telling how WWE should do what they do. I have fucking no idea. I am just a dude on the internet who talks about wrestling and talks about what I want to see. I don't fucking know. I'm just like, we've seen this before. Let's do something new. Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's have some fun.
There's only so much you can watch the same thing week after week without it becoming monotonous and boring. It's like, it's like if Harry Potter went through the exact same trials every time he had to get to the
but
Groundhog Day and Philosopher's Stone, going through the same trials day after day after day. It's just like after a while, it just gets mind numbing.
Yeah, it does become that tough sit. Now, granted, benefit of the doubt, who fucking knows what could come out of this? Maybe it's good, but I'm not feeling very confident.
Yeah, look, possibilities are endless, but at the same time, it's like, are they though?
Yeah. So. Like the highlights for me here, I'm looking at it like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn for IC, awesome, or the scenario that we created, Big E's going to get a push. He's going to take on Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. But that would have happened anyway because he hasn't changed brands. Bianca Belair versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Give me that. That's a highlight for me.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns.
Even if it's like, we don't know what's going to happen. It could be, Sasha takes the belt eventually. And I still want to see
Sasha versus Bianca. Mint. That'd be fantastic.
I want to see both of those.
Yeah. But then if I look over at Raw and I see some of these changes, I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not saying that SmackDown lost. Actually, fuck it. SmackDown kind of won.
Yeah, I definitely think SmackDown got the upper hand here for sure.
I mean, because I look across that roster, I'm like, all right, U.S. title. What are we gonna see?
Yeah.
Not much, because it's within the Hurt business, and they've got such a fucking hard on for the Plinky Plonks and the Upsy Daisies of Retribution.
Yeah.
Because the logical step here would be that at some point Ali ends up with the U.S. title.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you look at that framing, like where can this go? Like if they want Retribution to look like something other than a giant joke, they need to go down that path.
Yeah. 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 Shit.
I hate when I ruin wrestling for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I thanks. Me too. If I had to give you our rating, I would give you a big old Triple H.
That was fun. I'll give it a bar.
Yeah.
Like, there were some positives to it. Like, it wasn't absolute. Like,
yeah.
It could have been worse. They could have just done nothing. But
it definitely could have been worse.
What I also think's fucking bullshit, they didn't bring any NXT people in.
I know.
One guy who we've never heard of, right? That sucks. Now, granted, I understand that a lot of people are over at NXT are having a good time anyways. They probably don't want to move. But, like, why not put some people down to NXT? Just switch it up.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's the whole fucking point of the draft. Put Kevin Owens down there. Why not? Bring Finn Balor back up. Why not?
Yeah, exactly right.
Even though I still kind of want to see him, because presumably Survivor Series is where they're going to do the 3 brands again. Hopefully.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I may still get what I'm wanting here, at least to see some of these matches. But Undisputed Era, they've done almost everything they can fucking do at NXT.
Yeah.
Bring them up. As said,
yeah, exactly
and
right. Give them an opportunity on the big stage.
If they unified these titles, and I'm dreaming, I know Dash, I'm getting my soapbox again. They would be brilliant to go across both brands.
Yeah.
Because I want to see Undisputed Era fight fucking anybody.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like Adam Cole as the longest but Adam Cole, baby, had the longest run as NXT champion.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what that means to the main roster. Now, granted, that is with my idealistic vision of what they do in that process when they bring people up. But in that process, they just forget that NXT ever fucking happened.
Yeah.
If they this is something that I'm pretty sure I said last year. If they want to treat them as 3 separate brands, or 3 brands on equal level, that there is no more call-ups, it is a situation of these are 3 collective brands. They are 3 pillars of the same building. Fucking treat
NXT
them as
is
such.
The 3rd brand.
Treat
Exactly
them
right.
as such. Give opportunities. And shift it around. Like, granted, but saying that though, previously when they were traveling around the country, I can understand why they didn't want to make the shift.
Exactly right.
They're all in the same area. They're stuck at the Amway Theater. Now the Performance Center has been rejiggered to the CWC, the Central, whatever the fuck it's called now, right?
Yeah.
They've essentially set themselves to be steady. They're going to be staying here for a little while.
Yeah.
They're not missing out. They don't have to do 11 shows a week or whatever.
Yeah.
So like Gargano, and Candice, that's who I'd want to see.
Oh, hell yeah. I definitely want to see, especially after what happened in NXT recently. Like, I would kill to see them come up.
Yeah, because if they lost there, which they did, they lost a takeover. I'm like, well, that seems like a good reason for them to move up.
Yep, 100%. Just like we're done here, let's move on to the next big thing.
Well, instead they go on the storyline. They want them to be the first ever like couples champions in NXT, which is a cool storyline too, I guess.
That's cute, yeah.
But
But still, stop ruining our fantasies.
Yeah, bastards. Anyways, that brings us to the end of our show. Let us know of our essential an hour-long rant about how the draft was not very good. Let us know what you think in the comments below. How did you think the drafts went? How did you think the drafts went? Did they go where they were supposed to? Are they completely missing opportunities? Should they have unified the tag titles?
Yes.
Let us know. Comments below. This has been our WWE in a review. It usually comes at you on a Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/popcultures. Our Twitter handles are below. Come talk to us on the socials, as well as our Discord, Instagram. All those links are in the down below area. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this wrestling pod. If you're listening to us on podcast service, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, and comment down below. I endeavor to answer every single comment that pops up. And if you want to support us financially, you can. Patreon.com/popcultures, where we can, also our merchandise, popcultures.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jem.
And it's a new season. Woo!
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
We'll see you then. The Young and the Restless, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damian Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.